In this video, I wanted to get into some progress with the Monkeys with Guns game that I am developing in collaboration with my friend Vimlark. Specifically, I wanted to go over the recent addition of the CPU players, and the design and implementation decisions that went into creating their AI. So first, I wanted to start by looking at the type of AI selected for these furry critters. When selecting an AI format, it's important to think about the game type and what you are looking to achieve. Here, with a destructive platformer such as Monkeys with Guns, we are looking to mimic something closely resembling to the human players. Now, the game is sporadic, fast-paced and designed around quick, short game times. When watching human players, we see them bounce around the level, getting into combat and collecting items local to their position, rather than heavily pathfinding and strategizing like you might see in some other brawlers that lean on a skill mastery level. As such, we skip that heavy pathfinding and go for a more location equals action approach. Recently, I posted a Game Jam submission video with a strategy game based on a grid, which would lean on a decision tree approach to the AI. Here, the AI looks at all the possible scenarios and creates values for the branches on that tree to choose the best result to play. It can then inject random mistakes and select lower value branches in order to provide a difficulty level to the AI. On the other end of the spectrum, we have brain-based AIs that use a node-based status approach using external influences to determine reaction to stimulus, like here where the AI is looking for whether the player is armed to determine whether to open fire, or hiding when it's taking damage. The Monkeys AI is a simple logic-based approach with basic reaction to the monkey's location and its surroundings. So let's take a look at those steps that the AI assesses. First off, if the monkey is currently engaged in a fight, it determines how much health it has lost during that engagement. If the monkey has lost too much, it will flee by changing to a random direction and randomly jumping as a sort of avoidance mechanism. If not fleeing an engagement, the monkey AI then looks to see if any other monkeys are within its zone of attack. If they are, then it will turn to face them and begin a new engagement. In this, it also assesses closing the distance, which can be seen in short chase sequences. Outside of hunting, the AI is constantly on the lookout for pickups, and destroying crates to get more pickups. Our monkey AI doesn't have a favourite weapon, it only cares that you don't get yours. Lastly, if none of those conditions are true, we perform a very basic form of pathing. This includes checking for blocked directions, getting unstuck should we fall in a hole, and also adding a little randomness with the odd jump and changing of direction. And a note on that randomness, we weigh this up against predictability. Some games we want the AI to be more predictable. This is even more valuable when we look at games that have speedrun capabilities or high scores, etc. In those, the player wants to master a level and wants consistency when approaching the AI. That doesn't fit so much with the AI in the Monkeys with Guns game. The players here want an unpredictable nature to fit with the style of gameplay. With many AI in games, you want to implement some form of characterization, whether that be a brute taking lots of damage or a minion fleeing at the first sign of trouble. Here, we do that with a set of exposed values on the various AI options, and we can set the level of health, for instance, to lose in a contact before the AI flees. We can set the radius the AI uses to hunt and gather for pickups, mimicking a sort of stalker or scavenger type behaviour to the AI. We can also increase the random stoppages and the length of those stoppages in order to make the AI easier to target. And lastly, we can decrease the time between them randomly changing direction in order to make them appear a little more skittish. Tools-wise, I added indicators to the editor to visualise distances that certain characteristics work off of, and also an AI log is included so that the designer can pause and look back over action ordering. And on the subject of those tools, we now have a quick AI launch button on our custom game control window, so that when we're creating levels, it's quick and easy to test those levels by having a group of AI fight amongst themselves. So that is a pass on the Monkeys with Guns AI. I hope you enjoyed watching the little furry animals beating each other over and over in the background. And as usual, please feel free to drop any questions you have in the comments. Also, make sure to check out Vimlark on his various social outlets, which I will leave links for in the description. And if you like this video, please do subscribe, so that this and other games that I'm working on can reach a wider audience and hopefully bring a little joy or help someone else building games out there. And as always, thanks for watching.